Welcome to this episode of Learning Fusion. In today's episode, we're going to be covering working with USD in Fusion. So let's go ahead and roll this intro and let's jump into it.
We're learning Fusion together. We'll learn 2D stuff and 3D stuff and particle stuff and compositing stuff, deep pixel stuff and tracking stuff, but not other stuff, but some other cool stuff, because we're learning Fusion together.
So within Fusion, we can work with USD files. Now, if you don't know, a USD file stands for Universal Scene Description, and it was developed by Pixar to kind of better the workflow when you're working on 3D things like movies or games or whatever you're creating 3D assets for. And what it does is it basically allows multiple people to work on models and materials and different things and share them amongst each other, and they're all going to be the same no matter what they're working on. So unlike, like I say, an FBX that might be different in size and different in materials, USD uses material X, so whoever opens it is going to have the exact same materials, exact same colors, the same model size and everything. And unfortunately, not a lot of 3D software allows you to work with USD files fully. So Blender, you can bring USD files in, you can manipulate some stuff, but you can't work with like variants and do different things, which is the magic of USD. And what variants are basically, say you were creating a 3D scene of a parking lot. So you had one artist working on a whole bunch of 3D models of different cars, different variants of cars. You had another one working on the materials, and someone working on the scenery and the environment and so on. You could take all these cars that they built, say they made 10 different variants of cars, and you can populate in the entire parking lot with all these 10 different variants just by picking different variants and put them in random places. So that's kind of the magic of USD, and I'll show you that here in a second, because you can work with variants within Fusion. But like I said, the only 3D software I know of and that I've used that fully supports, when I say fully, I mean you can manipulate variants and everything, create variances and create your materials correctly, is Maya and Houdini. All their programs support it, but they don't fully support USD. So let's jump in and let's show you what USD is. So if we go up here to our little effects tab and I go to my tools and I go all the way down here and click on this USD, these are all the nodes available for USD within Fusion. And it operates just like our 3D stuff that we went over for the past few episodes, but it is different. So let's go ahead and build this out so I can show you what USD is and how it works in Fusion. So first, of course, we're going to need our little merge node. It's a U. So if you notice, all of our USD nodes are preceded by a small u. So you know that's a USD node. So a U merge. And of course, we're going to need a U renderer so we can see what's happening. And on our U renderer, just so you know, our render type is set to Storm, which is what was developed by Pixar as our renderer. But our renderer options are pretty slim within Fusion. So you're not going to get those crazy rendering options like we do in other 3D programs. So that's our renderer. We need that. And to be able to bring in things into Fusion, we need to use a U loader. So we can use this U loader and select what files we want. Additionally, if I just delete my little U loader node, I can pick a USD file or USD scene from my file and just drag it into the Fusion composition here. And there we go. We've got a U loader node and it's got my little, what did I drag in? My little couch scene here. So there you go. There's like a little couch scene with a lamp. That's our USD scene. And there's tons of information going on in here, but you notice our materials are wrong and all that stuff. So because by default, Fusion is going to bring your materials in correctly for our USD files. It's just not going to happen. So what can we do with this? So we can technically just plug this straight into our U merge node. And if we go to our U merge, that's what we got. We go to our U render. We're not going to see anything because we don't have a camera. So we need to grab this U camera. And now we've got a little camera node. And now we can manipulate our camera, bring it up or down, bring it down. Let's bring it back a little bit. Bring it back so we can see what's going on. Bring it up. Let's Let's go ahead and transform this around a little bit so we can see our little scene there. Bring it up, bring it in and over a little bit. There we go. So we can see our couch, our little lamp, and our little pillows we got there. And I'll cover lights here in a second. So to be able to use our USD stuff to the fullest, we do have a few nodes in here that we don't have in our 3D stuff. And the first thing we want to talk about is our little visibility here. So our U visibility is going to allow us to pick between our different stuff to be visible. And I'll just plug that in here to show you an example. So if I go to our U visibility here, and if I go up here and select our prim selection, this is everything within our little USD file that we can manipulate. So we can see all of our shapes and all that stuff. And right down here, I can just select transformable or imageable. And that way I just know I'm only seeing stuff I can see in the scene. And then I can go ahead and pick out stuff to make it visible or not. So for example, let's say first thing we want to do is we want to take care of this color of this couch. So I want to select this couch. So I can go to my little picker here, and you can see we've got it named. And as long as the 3D program that this was created in, the people named them correctly, this is what you're going to see. So let's find our couch here. We've got our little sofa. So I'm going to select the actual mesh, hold my control, and select all the different stuff that goes to this little sofa here. Sofa cube. Let's make sure there's nothing else. Those are our cushions. Now we've got our back of our sofa here. So if I hit OK and I uncheck this, you can see we're making our sofa visible and invisible. And since I actually want to select my sofa, I'm just going to invert my prim selection and uncheck visible. So now all I see, if I go here, now all I see is my couch. That is it. Now, to be able to change our material, what we need to use is we need to use a Replace Material node. So I'm going to grab a Replace Material node, stick it in there, and I can just go here and change our material. And there we go. We've got a green couch. Now up here, I can change the type, whether I'm using just color, texture, material. And if I want to put an actual texture on it, I can go ahead and just select texture. And you notice we've got this little file name. And I can go into my file folder and just drag and drop the texture of our couch I want. So I can use any diffuse material or albedo. Just drag it in there. Bam. There we go. We've got our couch material. So if I go to my render node, you can see our couch material. And we can change this up a little bit. So we can go to our controls on our Replace Material, and I can change our roughness up so it's not shiny. So it's more like couch material. And there we go. We can edit our material as we need using the Replace Material. Additionally, we can input our stuff directly into here if we have materials. So there we go. We've got our couch. Now let's go ahead and add our little pillows on this couch. So let's go ahead and pick out our cushions. So I'm going to select this U visibility, input it. And I'm also going to input a Replace Material. And so it doesn't get glitchy, I'm going to input that into our little merge node, because sometimes if it's not connected, you might get a little glitchiness going on here. But on this visibility, we're going to pick our little first cushion here, which is this cushion, and I can hide it and we can't see that. If I go to our merge node, we are hiding it, unhiding it. But I'm going to invert my selection and uncheck, so only my pillow is showing. Then I replace material. I can go in here and turn this to orange. And I may have to pick my material. So go down to cushion, plane one, hit OK. Now it's orange. So we can go ahead and change the color of this if we want. Make it a little darker. And there we go. We've got a dark little pillow. Here we can knock down this roughness so our pillow is in a shiny fabric. So there we go. We've got a pillow. And we can do the same thing with the other two pillows. So I can grab another visibility node, input it, and you notice if I select this, I'm not able to pick my prims. And that's because, like I said, we need this little round robin here to be connected for some odd reason. But afterwards, I can select this U replace material, add another one, input it, plug it into my U merge. Now if I go to my visibility, I can pick my second cushion here, hit OK, and I'm going to invert that and hide it all. Now I'm going to replace material. Again, pick my little second cushion. OK, and I can replace this material. We can make it a darker brown if we want, or a lighter brown. There we go. We've got a darker brown. Let's go ahead and knock this roughness down. And again, for our third pillow, I can do the same thing. Visibility, input that, add a U replace material, and make sure I'm plugging that into my merge. Go to this visibility, pick my last little cushion here, invert it, hide everything, replace material, pick my last little cushion here, and we can go here and we can make this a different color. Let's make it a greenish. There we go. We got a greenish pillow. Let's knock this roughness down. There's our couch with our little pillows going on. So, and we can do the same for the rest of our little scene here. We've got those lamps we need to bring in. So let's go ahead and bring in the bottom part of our lamp. So we can move this up. Let's bring in another visibility node. I'm going to plug it in. I'm going to go ahead and add another replace material node there. Bring that into our merge. On this visibility, I'm going to make sure I pick only my little light pole stuff here for my lamp. So we can color that a metalish color. So I'm going to hold control, select all my lamp pieces, not my shade. We'll do that separately. Lamp base. What else do we got here? I believe that's all of our lamp pieces. So I can hit OK, invert it, and hide everything out. So now we've got this little lamp base here going on. And same with this. I can go pick out my light pieces. Hit OK. And for this, I'm going to just change the color up, make it, I don't know, let's make a brass lamp. Let's get a brassy color. Sure, there we go. That's good. We can crank up our metallic, drop our roughness down. We can even add some clear coat so it's shinier. And there we go. We've got a shiny brass lamp. Now for the lampshade, we can go ahead and bring that in. So let's grab another visibility node. Bring this in. Let's add our replace material node. Let's plug it into our U merge visibility. We're going to pick our lamp shade. So let's find our lamp shade there. Where are we at? Lamp shades. There we go. Okay. We're going to invert it and hide everything else. So there we go. We've got our lamp shade. Now replace material. Let's make sure we pick our lampshade geometry there. And on this, let's just make this kind of a yellowish. There we go. And then to be able to see our light shine through, all we're going to do is we're going to go down here and first let's change our roughness up. And we're going to drop our opacity a teeny tiny bit so it's slightly opaque. So you see as I'm dropping that, it's more and more opaque. But I'm just going to drop it a little bit. And then we're going to add a light in here. And the lights work pretty much the same as our 3D stuff. So all I have to do is go up here. We have all these different lights. So we've got some extra cylinder, disc, and they're a little different than our 3D stuff, but they operate basically the same. So I can grab this sphere light. Let's go ahead and put our light up here with our camera. Let's input that. Let's go to our merge here. And let's move our little light over. So it's in our lamp. I can right click, go to my camera, and view the top. So I make sure that I get that kind of in the middle of that lamp. There we go. Middle-ish enough. Go back to camera, perspective. And there we go. We've got a little light. And to be able to see this light correctly, when we go to our render node here, if we go to our render node, we see this lighting right here, and we can select none. So there's no lighting. the camera is just going to kind of spit out a fake little light, or we can hit scene, and this is actually going to light with lights within our scene. Now our light is lighting our lamp. So there we go. Nice. And of course, we can go to our sphere light. And the nice thing about this is I can select this color temperature instead. So just enable color temperature. And I can say 5600. There we go. So we're at 5600 Kelvin with our light. And of course, we can change our diffuse response. And we can change our intensity and our exposure if we want. So there we go. We're getting our scene lit. Now, we can still use some elements from our little 3D stuff here, but we do have shapes within our little U environment here. But if I wanted to drag a shape in from our 3D, I can. But I'm going to stick to our little U environment and bring a U shape in. And let's go ahead and get a back wall there. So if I go to my U shape, if you notice, we have a few more than we have in the 3D, i.e. this capsule thing. But I'm going to select plane because we're just going to make a wall. And let's change that size. And let's just bring it back. So we've got a wall in the background. There we go. We've got a giant wall. And our material, I'm just going to change our color here so it's a whitish gray wall. I don't know. Let's make it blue. There you go. We've got a blue wall in the background. Now, as far as variants, and this is kind of the power of USD, we're going to talk about this variance here. So if I bring in this U variant, what this is looking for is it's looking for a variant of a specific geometry. Now, to have your variance, it has to be correctly created, and it needs to be created in a program that can export variances in the payloads and the textures correctly. So you're not going to be able to do that within Fusion. You're not going to be able to do it within Blender. I use Houdini anytime I need to do this stuff, but I believe you can use Maya as well. It's got full USD support. And I don't know about some other programs, what you can and can't do, but I'm going to bring in an example that I have. So I'm going to bring in this little book here we have, because we're going to add a book up here. So if you notice, it's got this little loader here. And right now we can't see anything within our inspector, but the minute I plug this into our U variant, if I go to our U variant and I plug that into our merge node, if I go and pick, you can see we've got our different geometry and everything. And what's happening under the hood is this is reading what's called a payload file that's kind of accompanying this, but we're not loading that payload file in, but there is a payload file that this is reading. So if I go to my variant sets here, now I can select my geometry and I can select what variant I have. So if I go ahead and just bring this in, you notice this is a variant of a book. So right now it's on its standard selection, but book 1, book 2, book 3. So I can change these different variants I want. So if I want a whole stack of books, I can technically just take these and keep changing variants and do a whole stack of books with different variants with a single payload from this geo file, which is the actual USD model of the book. So hope that makes sense. So we can take this variant and we're actually going to add a U transform. If we go to our U merge, we can kind of see what's going on. We can bring our book up. Let's bring it up. Let's set it on our little couch here. Let's transform it. So let's turn a little bit. Let's make sure that's not floating up in the air. And there, close enough, our book is on our couch. So now if we go to our render node, you can see our little book sitting there. Let's go ahead and bring that up a little bit. We can even transform it so it's sitting perfectly. And that's the beauty of using something like Maya or Houdini, because I know in Houdini, if I needed to do this, I would just create a collision object and drop this book on this couch, and it would use real physics to drop the book on the couch correctly. Even if it had a cushion, I would be able to say it's a cushion, and you'd be able to see it sink into the cushion accordingly. Anyway, back to Fusion. So we've got our book there, and the good thing is if, say, our client looks, they can say, hey, I don't like that book. Can you change it to another book? So I can say, okay, how about book 5? Do you like book 5? And they say, yay, I like book 5. Let's go with book 5. That's the whole point of variants there. That and being able to duplicate or instance these different variances without using multiple geo things, because this is a lot lighter than making tons of different 3D meshes and adding them all. So then what we have to do is we got to make sure we put our texture on that book. So after our U variant, I'm going to use this little Replace Material node right here. And in this Replace Material node, I'm just going to say it's a texture. And in my texture, I'm going to go find my little book texture here. So that was, what book did we pick? We picked book 5. So I'm going to find book 5. Book 5. There we go. There's my book 5. And now it is shaded correctly. And our scene is a little dark there. So we can go back to our lights and we can say add a distant light if we want. In our distant light, we're going to kind of transform that around so we're getting some light from a different angle. And we're going to knock our intensity down a little bit. There we go. And we can even enable our color temperature and tell it we want it to be 5600 like the rest of our stuff. And there we go. We've got our little scene. So that's using variants to create stuff. And again, if our client said they don't like it, we can just go change our variant, replace the material on whatever variant we selected, and there we go. We've got all that stuff on there. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't use USD within Fusion really for anything other than one thing that I'm about to show you, and that is VDB files. So for some things I have to create, I have to use VDB files, and sometimes it's just easier to comp and use Fusion and bring VDB files in. And if you don't know, a VDB file is basically a volumetric file, like clouds or fire or smoke or fog or whatever you create in a 3D program, you can export as a VDB file. And within our little U environment here, we can actually bring in volumes. So for instance, if I bring this volume in and I go find let's find a cloud. There we go. We've got a cloud. So here is our giant cloud. I'm going to plug that into our merge node so I can see how large it is. And if I go to my volume node here, you're going to see the scale. Now, this isn't the scale or size of your model. This is the scale of your density field. Because what it's looking for is it's looking for what the VDB is using for its density. And here it's using our density little field. If it was fire, you could choose between density and heat or temperature or whatever you want. But if you want to change size, we got to go here to our transform and actually change the scale. So we can scale this way down. So our cloud is small. So there we go. We've got a little cloud of smoke kind of hanging out on our couch. Go to our render node. There you go. You can see our smoke kind of hanging out. And this scale here just scales up how dense our VDB file is going to be. So if we just want it slightly dense, like a little haze going on in there, there we go. We want it super thick, like there's smoke in a room, there you go. Now also under our mode, if we select this black body for our volume, we can actually select our temperature field. And since this one doesn't have a temperature field, you can select your density if you want as the temperature. Now it's going to use the heat from that float information to change the temperature of that. So you can see it's a little reddish around there. But if we had a VDB of fire, we would have exported our little temperature or our heat field, and you would select that to be able to color using black body to color your heat and your fire. So I do use this quite a bit for various things or in different effects within doing composites within Fusion, but I really don't use anything else in this little USD thing because I use Houdini for all my USD projects. So that is using USD within Fusion. I will see you guys in the next episode.